Hey beautifuls! I just had a beautiful first half of the day with a beautiful friend of mine, Grace, and we exchanged sessions for each other, Ayurveda and Tantra, and just had a few really awesome chats about life and everything. And yeah, those conversations just actually inspired me to jump onto here as we were talking about authenticity and practice and within that spiritual path, but also within that spiritual industry, and how you're doing your work and you might be feeling like a fraud, or how it can be, at sometimes you're just having a lot of energy output, sharing with other people, teaching other people and so forth, and that might impact how you're going on your own path, but everything is coming in waves. So we were just talking about how to walk your talk, and leading with authenticity and with integrity. And something that's getting me almost hated within this spirituality environment industry is how there's this stigma around things, about everything. Like my first entry into this, and as a teacher, was yoga, and for my own transformation. And you're only really yogi if you do this and that, if you have a physical practice every day, or if you do the certain things, if you fit into that certain box, then you can call yourself spiritual or a yoga teacher or authentic, or there's this weird stigma around all those things. And I actually had another incredible conversation with a beautiful friend of mine a while back when we were exchanging treatments, talking about own practice and own self-care in exactly that sense. Let me just turn off this radio rumbling. And we were talking about how, especially when you begin a practice, it's, for example, for me, when I first started yoga, I would practice yoga every day for an hour or two, like morning and night, or once a day at least. And I used to have a full-on Ashtanga practice, like pretty active, strong yoga, and really lay this emphasis on, walking my talk that way, with practicing, doing, like putting that work out every day kind of thing for myself. But in the end, it was just a physical practice. And then, a year or two later, my yoga practice looked so differently. It was actually more internally coming back to my roots and doing the internal work, like implementing the yoga philosophy into my life and living by it, and doing karma yoga, like the yoga of action, and actually less asana. And which is like the yoga philosophy is what originally got me into yoga and into self-healing and really empowering myself from my own trauma through a new way of life, through yoga, through the philosophy that's behind it. That's just incredible life-changing stuff, and the asanas, the physical practice, is just an aspect of it. Yet within that industry I came across opinions like, oh, you're only, if you're a yoga teacher, you're gonna do your yoga practice every day. And when now I'm at a point of like, actually I am doing my yoga practice every day within my actions. Like I don't have to set aside, and there's a place for that, but I don't have to set aside an hour of strict yoga and then half an hour of strict breath work every day, or an embodiment practice every day, or a 2 to 3 hour self-care morning routine every day in order to be spiritual, or in order to purify myself in that sense and live that more sattvic, more pure, authentic path. Because in the end, everything we're learning in all those modalities, and I have, since I started on my journey, I have studied so much more than just yoga. I went into Kundalini and the old tantric texts, into health coaching, Ayurveda, Hermetics, and Reiki, and Theta healing. And, there's so much beauty in all those different modalities. And in our West, we so quickly adopt this opinion of that we, everything that's considered healthy, we got to do all of it, just how we all have to live with turmeric lattes and of spinach and kale smoothies because they're considered healthy. But really, if you look into that a little bit deeper, we are all deeply, intensely unique and individual and therefore have so different needs. And not everything is great for everyone at every time, whether it's your food or your lifestyle. I think I'm talking on that in a following podcast episode of next week. But it's the same with our practice. In the West, we tend to, I held a workshop a while ago, and one of the girls said as we were going through stress release practices and morning ritual, she said, oh man, I'm already getting up at 5. I already got so many things in my morning routine. That's another thing to add on. I'm like, well, that's kind of actually really missing the point, because if you're putting on more stress on yourself by making sure you're implementing all those practices and all those tools and all this and that, you're really defeating the point of reducing the stress in your life and living with more flow and ease and alignment and feeling your best if you put all this pressure on. And also, different modalities are for different people within a yoga lineage, within a tantra lineage, within any other modalities, or amongst different modalities. There will always be something that deeply resonates with you, and other things that you just leave and that are not for you. And even the things that deeply resonate, they have their time and place. Like, you don't need to spend that strict hour on the mat every day. It's more, I find this strict spiritual practices of, doing your yoga, doing your breath work, doing like yoga asana, doing your embodiment practices, doing all the things, tools, they are practices to actually integrate spirituality into your life, into your very word, very thought, very action, very way you show up and act and respond instead of react. That is true spirituality. How you connect with yourself and with your environment in daily life on any level, like in a coffee shop when you're getting your coffee or getting your groceries, to how you're with strangers and friends and social settings, and how you treat animals around you and your children and your partner and how you communicate. That's spirituality. And that's where ultimately, if you're actually progressing within your spirituality and in your practice, that's where your practice should lead you to. Your practice of being there and doing the yoga asana. Yes, of course, it has an incredible effect on your body, but after having done this for years intensely, I feel like I've actually restored my body to a level and strengthened my body to a level that's easily maintainable to me now, like a level where I feel comfort and openness and functionality and flexibility and strength in my body as my baseline. Like, I've created through constant practice. Say you're starting off here, you're creating a new baseline that's way further up here. And then you get into your maintenance phase, right? Where you realize, okay, that was a tool. It has actually gotten you to feel so much better on other levels, that not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Now you just want to make sure that you maintain your body at that same level. And you continue on to deeper work. You always dig deeper. That's evolution. You're always going further, always deeper down the rabbit hole, and do this spiritual, mental and emotional work within yourself, and going from yoga asana to actually constantly monitoring and being aware of your mindset, and integrating yourself properly into day-to-day life in the purest, most authentic, kindest, open-minded and open-hearted version that you can possibly be at the time. So yeah, that's that. It's really hot on my heart, and it actually gets me heated. And spirituality, it's become an industry. It's a big billion-dollar industry. Yes, it's an incredible industry. It's needed. It's creating a lot of positive ripple effect around the world. At the same time, it's just another avenue for ego to go viral, and it does. And when we measure ourselves against each other, I'm like, someone said to my friend who is a coach and does tantric work, I didn't know you could be a tantra teacher if you're not going to kirtan. Kirtan is kind of guided chanting and singing and stuff, usually in Sanskrit or Gurumukhi mantras. It's just so ridiculous. Like, yes, kirtan is something amazing. It's an incredible tool. Mantra is so powerful. Singing or, creating sounds and community is incredibly powerful. Yet, it's not the only way to deepen the connection with yourself and be an amazing tantra teacher or whatever else you're teaching, There's just like so many roads lead to Rome. There's no one way to do one thing. And the person who's truly empowered within themselves and who's truly walking the talk, they are having an integrative practice that's serving them and what they need at the time, and their service is and their practice is actually serving them to get a deeper connection to their bodies, to get a feel for what they intuitively need one day and not another. Like, for example, at the moment, my self-care practice every morning went from doing my consistent yoga practices like asana every morning to then just do meditation and breath work, to a year later sitting with cacao and journaling, to a year later doing my yoga in the afternoon, or in the morning, either way, on the beach with my dog. And in the morning I do abhyanga, which is oil massage, and put oil into, do oil pulling and do nasya and so forth. And our practices evolve as we evolve and change as we change and go through the motions, and should support us where we're at right now, because our balance state is always changing just as we are. And that's what I think the essence of spirituality and spiritual practice is. They're all tools to get you more in touch with yourself, with your body, with your mind, with your spirit, with what you need at the time, and serving that and recognizing when it's time for a certain thing, but not for another, and not just using it because you have to do it, because if you want to be a good yoga teacher, tantrika, or therapist, or authentic whatever spirituality guru. Like, yeah. I'm sure you get the point. Anyways, I hope you're all having a beautiful, beautiful day. We're just slowly tacking away. I am. Not this one. And have a beautiful afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for your time and for being on here, and sending you lots of love.